So my name is Jessica Morales, and I am an expert in brain training. I help people get rid of unhelpful mental tendencies, rewiring how their brain fires. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I write for magazines like Psychology Today, and just really helping people get conscious of triggering their brain so their subconscious doesn't take over their life.
And, which is what
Were you
is
able to?
happening.
Was it coming through?
Yes.
Okay,
Which
let's
is
see if I
what
move.
happens, right? All of us are running around by our subconscious. They dictate when we don't keep it in
Yeah,
check. They dictate our behaviors,
exactly.
our actions, our thoughts, our feelings. So yes.
Exactly. And the subconscious is so powerful. It's overtaking 95% of our behaviors on a day-to-day basis. So I really want to train people how to consciously trigger the experience that they want by mastering how they communicate with their brains on a conscious level and subconscious level.
Awesome. Do
Yeah.
you want to share any tips with us? Where do you want to go? I'm going to go wherever you go.
Well, I love that you are a heart-centered therapist and coach, and the heart is so powerful, the heart space. And so if you want to talk about the heart and how people can actually use the power of the heart, we can do that.
Okay. Yes.
Now, am I getting it? Is it working okay here where I
You're
am?
working fine. If anything, like, I'll give you a signal, but you're working fine. We can see you.
A signal, come save me, Connie. Okay, so no, I was very excited to write this article. This is my latest article for Psychology Today, and I'm really about bringing spirituality and science together. I'm so excited about the field of neurocardiology and even neurotheology and what happens to our brains and our hearts and our bodies when we're connected to the divine and to God. And so in this particular article, I wanted to show through science that our heart actually is the little brain. It has neurons, it can remember, it can memorize. So this little brain right here that you have in your beautiful body is actually informing the big brain more than the other way around. So that's why it's so important to be diligent with our hearts.
Amen. Okay, so some of those terms, if later you can explain some of those terms, but I wanted to speak on what you say. And that is the same reason
Yes.
why I call myself a heart-centered coach, because a lot of people for a long time, the trigger words were mindset, mindset, mindset. And I've
Yes.
used those words before also. But what people don't
Mhm.
understand is, where does your mindset come from? It
Mm.
doesn't just appear. And so for a lot of people, they don't understand that it's actually things that happen in their heart. Usually it's disappointments that they have or heartbreaks that they have. And a lot of people think
Mhm.
heartbreak is just romantic relationships. But no, we have heartbreaks all the time. Anytime somebody lets us down, anytime our friend cancels plans, anytime something happens in our families.
Let me see if I can pull up the volume here because I just lost the volume.
Okay,
Here we go.
we can hear you. But any of those things, they affect your heart, and then your heart starts to tell your brain what to do. It starts to say, oh, that's not safe anymore, or this person is not good for you anymore, or that you shouldn't open yourself up anymore. And a lot of people need to reconnect with their heart, because that's the source. I truly 100% believe that the heart is the source. Oh, she left. Okay, so what Jessica is saying, and hopefully she comes back. What Jessica is saying is that there's actually science now that is backing up the connection between our heart and our mind and our soul. So she's coming back. So hopefully she comes back on. There you go. Can you see me, hear me?
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yay, you're back.
Can
Yes.
you hear me? Yeah, you know what I always say when things like this happen?
What?
I always say when things like this happen that we're going to be blessed today, because when it's harder to get together, that means something amazing is happening.
I like that. Okay.
So
That's a good way to
you
look at
never
it.
give up. You never, yeah, if it's hard to get to that conversation, if technology is giving you a problem, get excited. So what you were saying about the heart, I got most of it about the heart being the core is so true, because you're right. We talk about minds and mindset all the time. And really, whatever your heart informs your brain is going to respond, because your heart is going to send signals to the brain and say, you know what, I'm feeling I'm feeling scared, I'm feeling afraid, I'm feeling stressed, I don't trust this person in this relationship, whatever it is. And then the brain's job is to predict and to keep you safe. The brain is going to say, well, if you're giving me that data, I'm going to output cortisol, right? Stress hormones, stress chemicals. I'm going to protect the physical body. But when you're in that state on a constant basis, you're not able to receive. You're not in a receiving state. The heart is not in a receiving state. So really my tip for you guys is I want you to exercise your heart like it's the muscle. I want you to really be consciously aware, what emotions am I processing through my heart space? Because that little brain is going to impact the big brain to release good chemicals or whatever the chemicals are that is going to respond to. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And just to
Yeah.
reiterate what you're saying is your heart is the source and your
Yeah.
brain is the one that kind of controls everything else, right? Or like
Yeah.
it would be the
Yeah, the commander,
supervisor.
it's the commander of the body.
It's the
So
commander of the body. So it's
absolutely.
going to do the processes that it needs to do to keep you safe. So if your heart is saying, oh, that hurt. Oh, I feel broken. Oh, I feel sad. Oh, I feel
Yeah.
scarred. Your brain's going to say, alert, alert, alert. And
Yes,
boom, it's going to be shut down. There's going to be this protectiveness, right? But what
absolutely.
happens is that protectiveness, instead of actually protecting you, it creates a barrier for actual
Yeah.
good things to come through. And so
And
what you're
defense
saying,
mechanisms.
the defense mechanisms. And so what you're saying is we have to exercise that because you don't want to create barriers, so to speak, around
Yes.
your heart or around yourself, but you also want to keep yourself safe. So you want to do both.
Absolutely. And this says, be discerning, be diligent with your heart. The good word says, why? Because what we process through there really impacts our well-being, the internal joy that we're able to feel. I'm always very much about internal joy, because we work with successful people, but inside many can be suffering, and the inside doesn't match the success that's shown on the outside. What does that really matter? In fact, the data shows that after there's really no difference between, once you hit like 75K, you go up from there into millions. It makes no difference on your happiness. So the internal joy is what I'm more concerned with when I'm working with people. And then the power, here's the fun thing about the heart. The electromagnetic energy field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. It can actually, if Connie was like, even through here, I can do that. But just a few feet away from me, I can actually pick up the signals from her heart. They can show this in EEGs. It's ECGs. It's amazing. So
I love
imagine.
that you say that because
Tell
we're
me.
sensing people. And I talk about that all the time. We're sensing people. We pick up cues, we pick up body language, we pick up electromagnetic currents
Yeah.
that are happening even before our brain can figure it out and put it together. Our body, our
Yeah.
heart is always sensing that. So I love that you say that because I can say those things, but I don't necessarily have the science to back it up. But what you're saying is there is science to back it up.
Oh
There
yes.
is
Oh
proof that
yes.
this is happening. There is proof that we're affected by each other. We can feel each other's electromagnetic fields around ours
Absolutely.
and other people's.
And what you said about the intuitive nature of the heart is so super intuitive, and that's backed by science. In fact, the heart knows an emotion before it sees the image. So let's say an image that causes fear, the heart will actually respond that fearful signal before it sees the image. How amazing is that?
It is. I love that. Love, love, love. I love this conversation. We've been talking for like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
It can go
I
on and
love
on.
this.
Can you
We can go
imagine?
on and
I
on.
mean, Yes, and that's why your heart is so wise when we get out of the way. Where it steers you in, where it tends to steer you the wrong way is when you start bringing in the ego and defense mechanisms, and you don't let that heart just be wise and natural and just realize that it's so instinctual. It knows. It's like, I have two dog rescues. When they just know if a person is good or not, before the person doesn't even have to say anything. They have this ability to pick up energy, and it's physics. It's physics, right? So, and so the way I apply this in the article, because I work with a lot of workplaces too, and medical firms, is imagine. So when you're a doctor, and they did studies on things like this, and you walk into a room with a heart that's centered and very, very grounded in positive emotion like compassion and empathy, your patient may not tell you the whole story, but you actually can know it intuitively. So when you talk to your patient, like, and you say things that the patient is feeling, but they haven't even shared with you yet, immediately there's a trust that builds. The meaningful engagement increases profoundly. And that's just in a matter of seconds from your heart's wisdom.
I love that, because there's this receptive piece that is happening, right? And we all have that, and not just in these like medical relationships, but we all know, like, when we're around somebody and we instantly feel good, or we're around somebody else and like they don't have to say anything, they don't have to do anything, we just walk in the room. And we like to call it energy, we like to call it vibes, but there's actually real proof that there's more going on. So I love that you just reiterate that, because, and the other thing is, something else that you touched upon that I want to make sure we share is, like, when we experience heartbreak, we start distrusting our heart, and we think, oh, our heart led us the wrong place. But it doesn't, because the heart is about love. The heart is about compassion, right? And it's not that it led us the wrong place. So we need to get back to where we're trusting our heart again, and we're allowing ourselves to feel. So just because we're feeling, just because we're opening ourselves up, doesn't mean we're never not going to get hurt. But
absolutely,
our heart, shoots, I just lost my thought where I was going to go with that. But like you were saying,
no, you're literally
knows. The heart knows.
The heart knows.
The heart is intuitive. But a lot of other people aren't necessarily leading with their heart, which is what can kind of jam us up sometimes. So that's where I was going.
100%. And it can jam us. And it's not just for like emotional and relational issues, but the science also shows when we open up our heart and when we lead with the heart, what happens in your brain is that the brain starts to organize itself.
Yeah.
And it starts to tap into both left, right hemisphere. It starts to give you what I call, it's a term that I term wholeness perspective. So if you're stuck, locked, and blocked at a meeting at work, if you were to just tell your team to close their eyes, they've done this in many companies that are progressive and understanding the data. Close your eyes, don't say anything, connect with the heart space, bring up positive emotion like unconditional love that you feel with your child. When you see your baby smile at you, when you unconditional love with your mom, with God, something where it doesn't require a transaction from you, you're just receiving it. Fill your heart with that. And you can do this, the more you practice, it can happen so quickly. And then bring in the issue that you're trying to resolve or the negotiation. And what happens as a result is that your brain will actually highlight pathways that you couldn't think on an analytical basis only. So your heart can really help you in your career.
I love that. Okay, so we're gonna unpack all of that, because you said a lot in a short example. So what happens is our brain tries to make sense of everything, right? And it's always on the defense, and it's always trying to organize and interpret and all those things, right? But there's a lot of things that happen in our heart that can't be interpreted because it's a really sensing type of thing. So that little exercise you gave, that just
Mm-hmm.
drops us back into our heart space, because our mind
Yeah.
space, right? Our mind space is where things get disconnected. But that
Mm-hmm.
exercise you gave us just drops us right back into our heart space. And then
Mm-hmm.
that heart space tends to clear blocks that our mind
Yes.
puts there. So I love that exercise. So just drop right in. Think of like real unconditional examples of love. Think of things that make you feel joy and happy. And it's going to
Yes.
change your ability to problem solve, to find
Absolutely.
solutions, to work together. So I love that you say that.
Absolutely. And if you are a praying person, the data shows that prayer of gratitude, a quick prayer of gratitude, activates the heart that way as well. And it'll open up the brain regions as well. So that's that. I find that so dynamic. Can you imagine what happens when you pray for your enemies? Hint, hint. Lots of the brain structure, even
Amen.
practicing
Amen.
forgiveness, the when you practice forgiveness of someone that really, really wronged you so badly, the way the brain structure changes, that's why they say it's really for you. That's why
Yeah.
I'm writing this article now about self-care. I really believe it's other care. When we start caring about others and we do good deeds for others, our bodies physiologically take care of us. So the key to self-care is other care as well. You know,
Yeah. It's both. It's both. I love that.
it's
Yes.
both.
I'm a firm believer in self-care. And I'm a firm
Yes,
believer in doing for yourself what you're so willing to do for others. And for a lot of
absolutely.
people, it has so many different things, right? When you care for other people, it makes you feel connected, right? And you tend to be
Yes,
in more of your heart space because it's people you love, it's
yes,
people you really care about. Um,
right.
but it's also really good for you. So I love that you say that.
Very.
Somebody, I'm not gonna say it wrong, but I mean I'm not gonna say it correct, but it's
Cynthia. Oh, I
since
love her.
Priya. She says, finally starting your journal, Jessica. Um, she's been
Oh,
putting it
thank
off too long.
you.
And then my friend Preston just joined. So welcome you guys. Jessica, you wanna just recap what we've been talking about? Just in case they're just
Yeah,
joining us.
yeah. Hi, Cynthia. She's amazing. She's a wonderful actress and a veteran. A veteran. Thank you for everything you do.
Even Preston's a
Um,
veteran.
yeah.
He's a 9-year veteran. We have veterans today.
Oh, yes, we love our veterans, man. And she's been amazing. She's referring to, I wrote a journal for mind optimization, mind mastery for joyful living. Everything we're talking about, the article, the journal, all of that is on my website at bubloom.com. It's really easy, bubloom.com. And that's my brand is Bu Bloom. I really feel that when you have 2 feet really rooted in the ground in a strong mental foundation, everything you seed in it will sprout. And we really need
Amen.
to, right? And we need to nurture our mental foundation and our heart's foundation. And so retraining our brain, retraining the bad behaviors of our heart. You know, Connie, have you ever had a heartbreak and all you do is listen to sappy love songs and it's just reinforcing the pain?
I
Do we
used
not
to
take care
do
of our hearts
these
sometimes?
I used to like work myself up into these spirals of depression
Yes,
where I would play
yes,
all the sad songs on repeat, and then I would like have a really good cry and I would say really mean things to myself. And yeah,
yep,
I don't do those depression sad song parties anymore because it's not serving you
yes,
and it's not moving you forward.
yes,
You really have to feel the feelings, validate, acknowledge what you're feeling, and then release those feelings. Like do the things to release the
yeah,
feelings and then let it go.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you know everything we're talking about today with the power of your heart's electromagnetic energy field, like we'll give a quick recap, is supported by science. I have a feeling Connie and I don't really need the science. We have such a strong spirituality, but it's there for the people that we serve that are high logicals and high analyticals. They become our clients too, and I love working with high logicals and analyticals because When you give them the data, you see this opening in their energy. You see that they sort of have this release and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that there's this whole other side of me that I haven't explored. It's beautiful to see that.
Yeah.
And that we really need all sides of that. We need our analyticals, we need our heart space people and our head space people. We need each other. So really, just really think about your heart again as it's a muscle. It needs to be exercised. You need to be diligent about what emotions you let process through there, because it will tell the brain what to do, because it sends more signals to the brain than the other way around. It's conditioning your nervous system. It's conditioning your automatic responses. It's putting those seeds into your subconscious. So, we can coach and we can work with you, but it's very important too that you also do that on your time during your home play, not homework, during your home play, that you're exercising your heart right. And I call it your mind right, not a mindset and stuck and stagnant, but a mind right. How do I want my mind to feel today? Do I want that emotion in my heart right now? I'm about to react and, whoop some butt, and you might say, what other feeling do I want to put in there? Who makes me feel like that immediately? Okay, I know if I say a prayer or if I say if I feel gratitude or unconditional love, close my eyes, put my hand on my heart in that moment, I know that I'm going to trigger my brain in a whole nother way. You got to be that aware and conscious. And the more you do it, it's going to become automatic and you won't even have to do it anymore. You're going to wake up and be like, I can't even think negative anymore. What the hell is going on?
And that is so
a good problem.
But what you're talking about is doing it in real time. So a lot of us think, oh, it's just going to happen. No, you have to practice doing it in real time, so that every time it happens, your reaction is faster. And like you said, the more you do it, the more your reaction is changing and shifting, the more it just becomes who you are and what you do, to where, like, even for myself, I rarely ever speak negatively to myself anymore, because I had to get in the practice of when I started doing that, pow, like I would imagine I was a Kung Fu master and I'd be like, nope, don't have time for that. Nope. Next. We're not doing that. But you have to do it in the real time when it's actually happening. And then you train yourself, you train your brain to react differently. Next thing you know, you don't even have that reaction. You're quick to, like you were saying, you're quick to drop into that heart space. You're quick to go right where you need to go. And then you can be responsive versus reactive.
Cynthia said, laugh out loud. She must have been wanting to whip somebody's butt at some time. It was like, let me not react. Let me respond. Reaction subconscious, response is conscious. Become aware. So, and you're right. And Connie, what you're saying about real time, the reason why that's so important is because when you're operating in real time, that's when your subconscious is in control. You are in autopilot. You're going throughout your day. Your brain is doing what it automatically does. It's conserving energy. It doesn't want to have to think about how to, redo a job. You just know how to do things automatically. And that's really great. The problem is when you're automating bad mental tendencies, when you're automating bad heart habits. So I want you to build new heart habits the way you're going to build new mental habits. And the more you repeat it during your day, like Connie says, in real time, it's going to embed imprint into your physical body. I call it like your operating manual. Now, the next time you want to do something like a goal that really needs a positive minded person, somebody who believes all things are possible, it's going to look at your operating manual and say, are we that person? Is that our identity? And if that's your identity, your goal becomes easier. But if you say positive affirmations, but your blueprint, your operating manual is actually, I don't really have the confidence. I don't really believe. In my family growing up, we were, I didn't see a lot of examples of what that looks like. Whatever it is, whatever your life script is, if your goal does not align with your operating subconscious manual, it's going to reject it. That's why you're not moving forward in your goal. So the work that I do in hypnotherapy is literally relaxing the physical body, using positive emotion to prime the mind. And when the mind is primed, is using all aspects of your beautiful brain to handle that presenting issue from a very, very aware, heightened awareness state.
Yeah.
That's how you want to approach your problems in real time.
I love that you're saying that, because so I refer to your rote self, you know, your everyday self, as your
Yeah.
survival mode self or your inner
Yes.
child self. So you don't have the capacity or the time to, like, let me just reflect or let me respond.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to do the practice. So when you do the
Yeah.
practice, you don't have to think, oh, what do I need to do again? No, it just starts to happen. Like you say, it
Yeah.
becomes, you're changing the way you usually process the things, and you have to do that
Absolutely.
because you're changing your neural pathways, you're
Yes.
changing your memories, you're changing all of those things. And they used to think
Absolutely.
the brain was fixed, but the brain isn't fixed.
Mm-mm.
You can change so many things. You can change how you remember things,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes along with all the things that we've been saying today. So
Absolutely. And also your gene expression. Epigenetics is an amazing field. So how your genes express will change, which a lot is can be related significantly to disease. So you're not captive to, the DNA that you got. You can break from that. That's why in my modality, we don't focus so much on the past. We honor it. We thank it for showing up, and we get to create a new future and new present. So today, we're pulling from our past. We're seeing with a lens. If you think of glasses, you're wearing these glasses, and automatically it's pulling from your experiences of your past, your life script. Much of that as a child, you did not have control over. You were just taking in data as a sponge. But now you're an adult. So if 5 years from now you don't want to feel like you're feeling today, guess what? That means you have to change your identity of today. You literally have to change your identity, your personality. So be excited about that, so that in the future, it's going to be pulling from this present. So you are literally creating your future by what you're creating today.
right
Like,
now,
it's
yeah.
really awesome. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You change your biochemistry. Literally, you have the power to change all of that. Renew your mind. That's what I always say. God is so good. Renew your mind. That's why that has always stuck out to me. And I just did. I'm so happy, Connie. I'm so proud. I just completed. I haven't unveiled it. I'll say it here that I just completed this project showing the science behind verses in the Bible, in the Word. I show the science behind it and what happens to your body, what happens to
Wow,
chronic disease. I'm so excited. I can't wait to
that's
debut
so
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
but
have to have
you're
you back
loving
then.
you're what's that?
We're gonna have to have you back again so you could talk about that.
It'll be so great. When you're connected to divinity, things change in your brain like you wouldn't even imagine. Even imagine. It's beyond your imagination. It's beautiful.
And I love that. And you know what? I think the thing that we've been saying all along is we all have that. We all have that
All of
intuitiveness.
us.
We all have that divinity within us. And we were very
Yeah.
connected to it before. Like, I read the book Sapiens. I'm reading Seed of the Soul right now. I've read that a
Yep.
couple of times. I love that book. But I feel like science is finally catching up to what
Yes.
we have known all along. And for a lot of people, and like I
Yeah.
say all the time, you're going to find people that speak your language, like literally.
Absolutely.
So for some people, science was their language for a lot of times. So that's why
Yeah.
you're sharing, like, they need to hear the scientific terms, they need to hear the
Absolutely.
backing and all that behind it. But intuitive
Absolutely.
people, people that are in tune with their intuitiveness, these are
Right.
things we've known all along. And now science is giving the vocabulary and the language for it. But it's
Absolutely.
amazing what is happening. I feel like, yes, things are getting really rocky, things are getting really ugly. But I feel like because it's going to shake up the things that needed to be shaken up, but
Yeah.
we're headed we're headed towards a better future than I think
Yeah.
we've ever been headed towards. So
Yeah, when we're in the worst dips, that's the best time we come back up equipped. I always say that you come out equipped from the dips. And like you're saying, Connie, this is a very rough time for so many people. And people go, how can you get excited? Because usually in the deepest valley is where you come back up so much more stronger if you allow yourself to take that failure to be greater.
yeah.
And so it's so funny. I see Cynthia, I think she put like hands like praise, like like she was praising. I love her. So I do want to say, like, I want to encourage you guys when you, and so the next time you enter a room, and I end my article like this, you know, and you feel lighter being around somebody, or somebody just lifts your spirits. I want you to wonder, is it their heart or your heart who's lifting the others? Because one of your hearts is in training that heart to the others. It's really cool to figure it out and be like, and so, but right before I do like I could be teaching a workshop or going in to speak, and I center my heart and I walk in there and I know, you know, up to 9 feet outside of me, I can impact that front row, and then their hearts can impact, and it's a reciprocal effect. So practice going into a store, a gas station, whatever it is, and even through that mask, because you're nothing's going to hold your heart back. Your heart is, you know what's your superpower? Is your heart. Your heart is your superpower.
Yeah.
And I want to see, that's right, amen. And I want to see, go ahead with that intention, and I guarantee you, with very few words, you're going to be able to flip somebody's day around. You're going to be able to redirect their feelings. You're going to be able to entrain their hearts to yours. And a couple last things, you know, you can actually do this. Petco, I think, or PetSmart did it with pets, and the hearts actually entrain the pet and the owner. When they were together, their hearts actually entrain and mimic one another, and as well as moms and babies without even touching. You're powerful.
It reminds me, I know this might be off subject, but it reminds me when women are together, their cycles sync up. And this is the same reason behind it. But I want you to, before we go, I want you to share your tip again for how somebody can just drop into that heart space. So when you're saying for somebody to go into a place or an environment and notice how things are happening, what was your tip again for helping people to just drop into that heart space?
Okay, and like Connie said, whatever environment you're going into, you're about to go into a negotiation, you're going to pick up a call with a client that might be a little bit, you're nervous, you're feeling fear, the emotion is heightened. I want you to just stop, close your eyes. I like to put my hands on my heart, breathe so that you can connect to your breath. And the breath work allows you to put focus inward and take your senses off the external. We need your senses coming inside so that you can actually access more senses than you believe you actually have. Once you're connected to your heart space, appreciate gratitude for the heartbeat. That without breath, you would not be alive. Thank you so much for that. And then you can think about, if you'd like, someone that loves you and gives you unconditional love, your relationship to divine, to God, to your child. I think about my little dog and his face, and I just smile. And when you smile, it also changes the physiology in your body and the expressions of your genes. And then after you do that and you feel like you're really feeling it, you're like I can actually feel it right now. I feel it when I look at Connie's smile. Your smile is the best. I swear, look at her smile. Look. And so when I feel like that, now you can't have an opposing emotion to like you can't be mad and happy. You can't have anxiety and be calm. So you're going for the opposite emotion. Once you feel that, now you can bring in that thing that you're concerned about or whatever it is, and your brain optimizes itself. It organizes itself to use more of its faculties versus thinking in a compartmentalized basis. And your brain is going to highlight pathways. It's going to secrete oxytocin and serotonin. You can't help it. And then you walk in. I did this with a meeting that was going to be difficult. I didn't say anything but 1 or 2 words, and I had this expression. I don't know what it was, but it went in my favor. And the person literally was like, but look at the way Jessica looks. I mean, she can't, it has to be that she's saying the truth.
They can sense it. They can feel it.
They feel that feel good. So you're going to come into the room and you are going to change it. You can actually change the energy in a toxic work environment. You can. So really, this is about heart mastery and mind mastery, and the science backs you up. But Connie and I say, and so does God. Ken over here gave us a high five or an amen or something. I love it. Yeah, hi.
I have had the most amazing time. Like it's been like what 20-30 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us. You are always welcome back again.
I want to thank you too.
So
I want
thank
to thank
you so
you
much
too,
for
and I
being
want to
here.
thank you guys that stayed on.
Yes, thank you. And
Yeah.
believe me, a lot of people are going to watch it after. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can DM Jessica or you can DM me. Jessica is at BU Bloom, and her
Yes.
website is also called the same thing, BU
Yeah.
Bloom. And
Yeah.
she really works with you to train your mind, um, to allow your heart to lead the way. So thank you
And
so much,
shine.
Jessica. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I wanted to say I didn't anticipate these two appointments. The doctors needed something, so I ran. But I want to give, if this didn't come through clearly, I'm so happy to do it again with Connie. I love hanging out with you, Connie, and we can do it again. And we'll add in some more perks and pearls and tips and things like that. Okay. And I thank you guys for hanging in there, even though the reception wasn't great. Your grace for us is so appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen. So we'll see you
Amen.
again next time. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, you
Bye.
guys.